Okay. All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Crossfire on Africanna Radio. Yeah. Let's start. Crossfire. Okay. Description. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Crossfire on Africanna Radio. Today we are having a late start. Not just Crossfire, yeah, with Mike Jones and rest, yeah. It's Wednesday, 13th March. This year, the year's running so fast, my brother. I have with me in the studio my good friend Richard, Mr. D in the background as well. Tonight we'll be coming your way with another edition of Crossfire, and we're just setting our things up, our broadcasting on social media. I think we are having issues with our internet connection where we are, so I think I'm told you can get us on YouTube. So YouTube Africanna Radio. If you type in Africanna Radio on YouTube, you will get us there. And yes, we'll try and see if we can come on Facebook as we go along. Of course, TuneIn app is also broadcasting live the program. Good evening. Yes, it's Crossfire. Normally,
I don't think it's to do with your internet connection. It must be a general one. I've taken the internet off.
So
try yours to see if
so it appears Facebook is having problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try to go live. Don't do any description. Just
listeners, bear with us. We're just trying to see if we can do some live Facebook broadcast as well. I think Mark Zuckerberg has decided to do some funny business with his Facebook. YouTube is okay. So okay, you can still follow us on YouTube. If you're not getting there, you can still follow us on YouTube. So
go
down where is that? Here we are. Let me try and see if it will work for me. You can add this camera. Got it.
Let's try to go live. Let's see.
Yeah, can't start live, but yeah. All right. We've double checked everything. I think it's not our fault. It's Zuckerberg's Facebook that is.
Well, I mean, people be aware of that because they can get it to Facebook as well.
Yeah.
But
YouTube is broadcasting. Who owns YouTube? It's still Zuckerberg, isn't it?
I have no idea.
He owns WhatsApp. He owns YouTube. He owns almost all the social network sites, Snapchat and the rest. But yes, so let's go ahead. Before Facebook came, we were doing our show, so let's do our show. Yes. I still prefer my tuning, my brother. Anyway, yes, as we said, we'll be discussing a few issues. Time is fast spent, so we wouldn't cover all the issues that we intended covering tonight. But I can't help but to start with our usual way of doing it. That's with matters around the world. Westminster is brewing. Yeah. Anyway, a special good evening to you all out there, our listeners, our followers, our viewers, those in Ghana, those in London, those around the world, United States, Italy, everywhere. Richard, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Nice one. Today, let's not waste too much time with pleasantries. Let's move on to the business. So, Parliament has voted to indicate that they are not in favor of any no-deal Brexit. What is going on?
It's expected. I mean, to me personally, I don't know how they can get out of this with the time.
So you see,
with time running out, there's not now.
all they are telling us in that parliament is we don't want this, we don't want that. The prime minister has gone to manage to negotiate a deal. You reject the deal. You come up and say we want to take no deal off the table. So it means you want a deal. What deal do you want? Nobody knows what parliament wants. None of these MPs is coming forward to say that this is the deal we want, so we are putting this deal forward. All they know is we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want that. What do you want? And in any case, who is sovereign? Is it the people or parliament?
The people.
Correct.
That's
what is the instruction the people vote gave to parliament?
The way the system is structured. I mean, if the people's vote will still have to go through parliament first, and especially
no.
You see, what I'm saying is, if the people's vote, in order to validate people's votes, parliament has to make a decision on that. Then no matter what we do, with the way parliament is so divided in what sort of Brexit they want.
Hold on. Let's get it clear. Parliament does not have to validate the people's votes. All parliament does is that they follow through on the instructions of the people by putting in place an act to make that vote or that instruction into a law. And that is what they did by promulgating that Article 50 Act. Okay, to trigger Article 50, because the British public or people voted to leave the European Union. That was the question that was put there. The question was not asked, how do you want to leave the European Union, whether A or B. It was, should Britain leave the European Union? Majority of the folks said yes. So, Parliament, your business is just to do what? Put a law in place that people have voted. So, this is the law. We are leaving the European Union. Government, go and trigger Article 50 and do your negotiations and let us leave. What is this business of Parliament trying to take control over everything?
So you see, when you have a situation whereby I said the reason I said Parliament are the one that has to validate the people's vote is this: if government has to go to the table with the European counterparts to make a deal, and then even after agreeing to something, they still have to come to Parliament for that to be approved, i.e. to be passed into law like you suggested. And by the vote that they do,
so
if majority do not support,
do you know what?
Deal,
I think, you see, that's why I told you from day one that the best option out of all this impasse is a general election. Now, the general election, because we know that we are in a Brexit situation, those who are going to contest that general election, the parties, will come with their manifesto as to how they, now we have an idea whether you will, because it's clear that the majority of the parliamentarians over there do not want Brexit to happen.
But Mike,
they don't want Brexit to happen.
I think you're assuming that the majority of the populace is actually maybe as of now still wants Brexit to happen.
Why?
Because if you're saying that the best solution out of the whole thing is to go for general election, what you are intending to say is if those who actually support Brexit are the ones who are going to be voted back into power, so they can voted it back into Parliament, so they can sort of iron out a deal.
That is not what I'm saying, because if you go back to another referendum,
if you have
another referendum does not resolve the problem.
Not about another referendum. I'm asking you, if we go for a general election like you are suggesting, what will change?
What will change is that the general election, all the parties will come with their manifestos, and in their manifestos, their Brexit policy will be clearly stated. So that is what you go by. Now, the last general election that we had, who Theresa May called, all the parties agreed that they will honor the will of the people, which is leaving the European Union. It did not state how. Okay? Theresa May came up and said, either we live with a deal or a no deal is better than a bad deal. So she will try and then find a deal. But if she doesn't get a deal, or if she has a deal that is bad, then no deal is better than that. Now, she has brought her deal back to Parliament, and Parliament thinks that that is a bad deal. So, in effect, she has to go back to no deal. And the same Parliament is turning around telling her that we do not want a no deal. So, who should go and negotiate the deal? This is what she has managed to negotiate.
I get all
so,
that.
For me,
Mike,
now we have...
Look,
Look, the reason why I say general election is that...
Yeah, how does...
Let me come to that. It is now clear that from the various discussions in Parliament, we know where people stand. At least, if you can tell with some level of certainty that majority of the MPs do not want... Either they don't want Brexit to happen, or they do not want a hard Brexit, or they do not want a no deal. Okay? So, yet they have rejected Theresa May's deal. In that sense, parties or MPs, those who are going to contest, will have to come up in their own little manifestos what they are campaigning for. So if majority of during the general election, we have majority of the manifesto of MPs being voted back to Westminster saying that actually we are going to remain in the EU, then that is a general election decision. Then whoever gets the mandate to rule knows what he's going to negotiate for.
When you say they need to come out with a campaign or a manifesto stating clearly where they stand on the Brexit, and based on where they stand, that's where the people are going to vote for them.
Correct.
What you are forgetting is the people that went out to vote for Brexit. If you look at the vote difference, it was not a huge margin. So there are still some people out there who do not support Brexit. In the same way that you think the people will vote for some a member of parliament based on whether or not they support Brexit. So i.e. you're hoping that maybe they support Brexit. So
I'm not hoping. I didn't say that.
No. Yeah. But what you
I'm just trying to find a way out of the problem.
Not you personally, but what I'm saying is you think that per your suggestion that some people will make some changes to who they vote for. No. Who they vote
completely
to represent them in
completely
parliament.
No. All I'm saying that I'm not implying. Let me make it clear again. All I'm saying is that we had the vote and majority said we should leave. But on what terms? That was not part of the vote.
Yes.
So people, let's say ordinary folk, did not know that if we are leaving, we have to trigger Article 50, we have to negotiate deals and here and there. And then now all the experts are coming and say, no deal will be catastrophic, this will happen. So we have to live with a deal. A deal, what kind of deal are we going to live? We're having problems, backstop and here and there. All I'm saying is that now we have an idea how the negotiations have gone so far. 2 years. So we have an idea. We know the options of no deal, what it will bring, at least the dangers. We know the options of a deal, whether good or bad, what it will bring. Labour is claiming that they want a system where we will be in the custom union or a single market. Others are saying Norway style plus and the rest. We don't know which is which, but there is no majority in there. In that House of Commons.
Yes.
Now, if you go back to the people, as people are asking for, most of the MPs are asking for a second referendum. My question is, what are you going to put on that ballot paper? Though a referendum is by nature is meant to be one sentence question, in or yes or no vote. It is not a matter of you having a manifesto. It's a yes or no vote. So it will still go back to the same referendum that we are doing. So what are you going to ask that a referendum on a no deal?
Why is it that instead of maybe advocating for a new general election, why shouldn't it not do another referendum?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Another referendum, not on whether or not they want Brexit. That one has already been decided.
Okay.
So another referendum where the people decide whether they want a Brexit with no deal or Brexit with deal.
Hold on.
And then the MPs can support.
No, wait a minute. Now let me tell you something. A Brexit with no deal Let's assume people say a Brexit with no deal.
And then the
MPs have no choice but to go with a Brexit with no deal. Now, if they say they want a Brexit with a deal, in other words, like the MPs have voted to reject a no deal scenario, what they are forgetting to realize is that unilaterally Britain cannot go up and say that we want a deal, so EU give us a deal.
I get that.
So on that basis, that vote is a useless vote, just like they have just done over there. Because EU will not sit there and tell you that you say you want a deal. What deal do you want? This is what we have offered you. Either you take it or you leave without a deal.
I get that. But you see, Mike.
So I am saying, do you see how the referendum defeats it?
One thing that we also need to put our mind into is this. The EU leadership are sitting there. They are holding all the cards. It doesn't matter. Whenever the UK come on the table, Britain come on the table to negotiate, if they do not agree to anything and they push so hard and they stretch it and they do not, there is some sort of, they do not, even if there is a standstill and then they compromise a little bit, they do not, they know they hold all the cards. So it will have to still come to Parliament for Parliament to agree on whatever sort of negotiation. So do you think...
My point is that already so many things have come back to Parliament and this Parliament has failed to come to an agreement. It's not a matter of rejected. Whether they reject you, that's semantics. They have failed to provide us an agreed plan. For me, the government must go ahead and then do what it is doing, because the people, 17 million people, their views count. And implement what the people ask them to. Leave the EU. Leaving the EU in its purest technical interpretation. You see, the MPs are putting their own interpretation and the government is putting its own interpretation. But leaving the EU means leaving the EU with all its appendages and everything. That means a no deal. That is exactly what it means. But these people are just scared. They don't want to accept that. Because if you ask, do you want to leave the European Union? Yes, we are leaving. So 2 years, you go to the EU and say, we are leaving the European Union. They leave this negotiation back and forth trying to find a deal, knowing very well that any deal that you find, you have to bring it back to Parliament for Parliament to ratify. It doesn't make sense. People say leave, leave.
That's what I'm saying. But you see, Mike, looking at it,
leave.
The easiest way, the easiest way would have been Britain leaving with no deal.
With no deal.
If the MPs vote for that, then they know they've just gone in and they're totally out. But then again, if you are divorcing somebody that you've been with for so long, and the divorce is a bitter one, always, if you do not come
there is nothing you can do about it. But look, it's just like two people married. One says, I'm not interested in the marriage again. British people have voted. They are not interested in the marriage again. So forget about the consequences for now. And then try and then make the best out of what you have. But if you turn around and say that, oh, there's going to be chaos at the borders, there's going to be queues, and we won't have pharmaceutical drugs, we won't have workers for the NHS, we won't have farmers who suffer, fisheries, here, everything.
Yeah,
well,
so true.
That is exactly what people voted for. In its literal, clearer sense, those who argue that people did not vote for all this is wrong. That's exactly what people voted for.
I do not think that the people voted to leave the European Union without any deal. I do not think.
No, but that was not what on the ballot.
I get that.
What was on the ballot means that do you want to leave? Now, what does leaving the European Union means?
Yeah, leaving.
Leaving. Yeah. So this business of deal.
That you have to leave without having some sort of agreement with your former partners.
So that agreement should not be subject to further ratification by Parliament. Does it make sense then?
No, I get that.
Correct. So there's a government in power. We have voted. So your government go and then leave. Whatever deal you get, bring it and then let us move on. But if, as we stand now, we are at a stalemate because Parliament is trying to usurp its control over the government and say that, sorry, government, you can't leave without a deal. Now, provide me with a deal. But the government, Theresa May, to be fair to her, she's done all she can. She's gone there. This is the deal.
So you see,
you are not giving any alternative.
How about a third option? Yeah, instead of say, because there's always a stalemate. It doesn't matter how they do it, because one way or the other, some of the MPs are going to reject it. How about the Conservatives come out with their own plan, Labour come out with their own Brexit plan,
and then we go to the country.
We go to the country and let the country vote on it.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Whichever one.
That you are not coming home. You see, you go around in circle, you are coming back home. The general election, I say the two leaders. Look, Theresa May voted Remain. So she was not even the right person to lead.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Okay, and when this thing happened and they were doing their leadership, I was hoping that either Andrea Leadsom or Boris Johnson will be the leader.
But Andrea chickened out.
Well, she chickened out, but now it has become obvious that it was a bad decision allowing Theresa May to take over when she didn't believe in the Brexit project. Yeah. The country voted to leave, so leave.
Yeah, I mean, leave. Allowing Theresa May to take over was the same as, I mean, I didn't see the reason for
David Cameron was there. He wanted to Remain.
Yeah.
Theresa May campaigned for Remain. Cameron said, listen, I can't do this because I wanted to remain. No, so if I have lost, I'm going.
So this is where sometimes I put all the blame on the doorstep of Cameron, for instance.
But let's be realistic. The thing has happened. As for Cameron, he's paid for his punishment, hasn't he?
He should have stayed neutral when they went out to vote. He should have stayed neutral. If he had done so, he shouldn't have.
How can he stay neutral? Doesn't he have a right to what do you call it?
But if you're going to be the one,
my brother, you can't stay neutral, knowing very well that this is your view. How do you stay? That's exactly what Theresa May is doing.
Exactly. So
it's not working for her.
So So when
look at the way she's been, what do you call
it? You think the reason Cameron should have stayed neutral is because it's not what if they had voted to leave and he did not believe in leaving, then it's not.
He can't implement it. That's exactly.
So why then do you have to bring someone who is also in the same boat as David Cameron then?
And that's why I'm saying it was a mistake putting this woman in there. A Leave Prime Minister would have done a better job. Yeah. Okay.
But the question is,
don't worry about the consequences.
No,
let's leave and then think about the consequences later.
Yeah, but the question is, at the end of the same way that it still have to come to Parliament for them to vote. Even if you have a Leave Prime Minister in charge,
yes,
I do not think you make a huge difference.
Why?
Because you still have to convince your colleagues to vote for whatever sort of agreement that you come up with.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because he would have had the moral authority, the courage. That Prime Minister would have gone to Brussels and told Brussels that my British people voted Leave. Leave means we are leaving every institution of the European Union. Now, this is the deal. We leave, we fall back to World Trade terms. It will bring chaos, it will bring this. We have 2 years to plan. Now, the chaos is not just only on British side, it is on the European Union side as well. So, let us all put in place arrangements.
I don't think. I don't think they realize that chaos that you talked about, the European Union also facing.
Correct. So let's all put.
Someone is not.
Let's all put in place arrangements to avoid that chaos. Okay. Let's allow ourselves time. So we have what we call transition period.
Yes.
Just like in every divorce, we decide how we share our assets and liabilities. So that's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Rather, you have this Prime Minister getting up saying that, oh, we want a deal. We don't want to live without a deal. So European Union, we want a deal. And then the European Union says back, look, these people, they want a deal. They realize that they are going to lose more than us. We are 27, they are just one. They decided to leave. So if they want a deal, this is what we can do for them. If they don't want it, they should take it. Let them argue, because even within their parliament, they are not united. Look at how united all the 27 countries are. And then just a tiny country that decided to leave, MPs are not united. So my question is, are the MPs trying to tell us that the 17 million people who voted to leave are stupid, they are wiser than them, or what? This is my only question. Are the MPs who are voting to reject everything, one, you don't like Theresa May's deal, 2, you can't bring forward your own deal because you don't have support in there, 3, you say you don't want a no deal. So what do you want? What do you want? And why should just a handful of MPs, in terms of the what do you call it, the percentage, okay, take the whole nation to ransom? You are the representatives of the people. And this is what the people have instructed you to do.
Yeah, but
so leave.
Like that's where you also need to go to the genesis of the whole problem. Because you see,
there is no genesis here. The problem has happened. Let's be realistic and move on.
If you want to diagnose the problem that you're facing now, you need to start from the beginning. Wipe the clean slate. Start from the beginning. Start from where you got it all wrong. Because look, to me, what happened yesterday? Look at what happened yesterday and what happened today. The deal that Theresa May brought to Parliament was a better deal than what she has done previously. And I think a lot of people, even those Brexiteers felt that, you know what, this is our last chance to vote for it and get over and done with.
Yeah.
But still, it failed to go through. Now, by failing to do so, that's why she came out with them. If we can't agree on the deal, then let's go for the no deal option. And they still refuse that. So it's like, damn, what's the expression again? Damn if you do and then done.
The issue is that where she is putting the question is wrong. She should call the bull, grab the bull by the horn, and then call for a general election. Now, she in her heart knows very well that she says she wants a deal. So her own deal that she negotiated, she decided to vote against her own deal, allowing others to make amendments to her own deal. Does it really make sense? Just this evening, look at the shameful thing that happened. She comes to say that we should vote on the fact that Parliament should vote on the fact that we are going to live with a no deal. And then one of her MPs tabled an amendment to that, saying that rather Parliament should rather vote for reject a no deal. And that amendment, she ordered her MP to vote against that. They defied her, and the majority was just 4. They voted in favor of that amendment. So in effect, her own amendment is gone. So this amendment, listen to this, changed her own amendment. So next, the third and final vote was to the original motion, so which she had brought.
Which one did she lose by a majority of 4?
That was the amendment. So this is how it works. She comes with her motion, and her motion states that Parliament should vote for a no deal situation, to leave the EU without a deal. And then someone said that motion is not properly constituted or composed. So I'm making amendments to that, one of her MPs. And it's not just only her, there are other MPs who signed on. That is, another person was Yvette Cooper, Ed Boss' wife. Okay? She also signed on to that. Now, in the course of the debate, before they vote on that motion, that Conservative MP, Caroline Spellman, withdrew the motion, says she's not backing the amendment. She's not backing her own amendment anymore. But she had already tabled it, and the Speaker has selected that for debate. So, Yvette Cooper came back and said that actually, even though Caroline tabled that amendment, she's pulling out, she's not backing it, I am backing it, so I'm moving that amendment because my signature is on the form. And that's what the rules allow. And so, Parliament was forced to vote on it. And when they voted on it, they rejected a no deal, leaving the European Union without a deal at any point. It says at no cost should Britain leave the European Union without a deal. So, in effect, Theresa May's motion was Britain should leave the European Union without a deal. And they say Britain should reject a no-deal scenario at any cost. That was the amendment. So that amendment now became the main motion for the government because it has been replaced. So they now had to come back and vote on that amendment for it to be an amendment for the government position, because they forced their hand. And when they came back again to vote, even the majority was wider, rejecting a no-deal scenario. Although it does not become a law, because like I told you, the law was when Article 50 was triggered. But before they triggered Article, they had to pass a law to back the referendum that took place. So when you do a referendum for a particular issue, you need an act of parliament to back that referendum up, the outcome of the referendum. And that is what they did to trigger Article 50. So it does not change anything. It's not a law. It's just a motion. So on 29th March, still Britain will still leave if they haven't agreed on any arrangements without a deal. Today, the Chancellor came out to give his print statement, coming up with what do you call it, tariffs that are going to apply in the event that Britain leaves without a deal on 29th March, which is just about 2 weeks away. And there will be increases on those of us who drive European cars, 10% duty. So your car price will go up by 10% or even more. Okay, and whole raft of other tariffs on some products.
They're not scared tactics.
Thank you. Now, why wait till today, 2 weeks before we leave? Why didn't you? That is why I said from day one, when you were going into this, when immediately Britain voted to leave, you come out with all these policy guidelines and say, businesses, prepare. Country, this is the implication. We are now going to go back to World Trade Rules. These are the tariffs that will come in place. You have 2 years from now that we've triggered Article 50 to prepare. So there is stability, there is certainty. If I'm a business, I know that in 2 years' time, I'm going to start doing what? Yeah. Paying tariffs. Yeah. So let us prepare. That is what you do as a country. But you don't go around saying that whilst you are doing that, you go in and say, no deal, oh, that's the deal. You want us to arrange something, come with what you want to give us. And let's see whether we like it or not. So Britain would have been the one calling the shot because we decided to leave. Yeah. It is not the European Union who forced us to leave. Yeah. So we live on our terms and say that, listen, we say we are leaving. Me miss my job. Also to her now about say what job it yeah, and you say what you say. Does it make sense? No. Rather, you see, people have given the government instruction to leave, and the government is going back. You know, my people say I should leave. I beg you, please, just give us this thing. It's not right. So the government has no look at her. Listen to her voice. She's weakened. She's been changing her mind. This, that. That is not how a country. There's no confidence.
I'm surprised she has not resigned.
And in spite of all this, my brother, the economy is booming. We need a Trump-like style here. We need Trump here. I'm missing Trump. Trust me. Because we need to make the best out of every situation. But if you go around and you speak down the country and pretend as if the nation will just collapse automatically, immediately you leave, that is not good news. That is no good news at all. If they had gone in day one with Brexit, no deal, I tell you, the EU would have come and said, no, Britain, here, don't worry. You don't worry. Your people can come to our country free. You just put visa on us. That's fine, no worries. You will see how they will start relaxing the rules. They won't say anything because they know that if they don't, okay, it is going to affect both sides. Yes. And then you strengthen your alliance and your partnerships around the world. Yeah. But you don't get up and say that, oh, no one voted to lose their jobs. Please, were you in their minds when they were voting? You can't interpret your people's views like that. You were not on their minds. Yeah. You were not there. They just voted. They saw the request. Everyone watched the campaign. And they say, listen, we are going to leave. And they voted to leave. Yeah. So it's out of your hands. Just do what the people have asked you to do. And when people are saying that this is not what we voted for, then you tell them, well, that was the results. Yeah. So if you want to go back to the European Union, I can give you the option to vote again and go and join them. But you are trying to use some backdoor tactics MPs to scupper the whole Brexit. And that is not fair. Because it's now sort of, look, today at work, people were telling me if they bring another referendum, they will vote. Even this person was a Remainer. So all their statistics, they go around, they've done opinion polls. Opinion polls in the United States, not long ago, Donald Trump was losing. But when the final results were declared, what happened? He won.
Yeah, the Russian.
Yeah, not whether Russian or whatever it is. So how do we know that this opinion poll that we are talking about is not influenced by Russian and Cambridge Analytica? My brother, too depressing. It's just too depressing. I can't believe it that. I just can't believe it. It's just too depressing. But let's get back to, Ghana. Yes. Once they are struggling with no deal and arguing here and there, can't make up their mind, even with one language. We also have matters that are like are considered very irrelevant, but it's catching the headlines. You know, it's catching the headlines in Ghana.
Which one?
This Joy FM's Manasseh investigative expose and all this rubbish.
You think it's rubbish?
Complete rubbish.
Which one of it is rubbish?
Complete rubbish.
Expose itself, or
it's not the exposes. You see, there are better things that Ghana could be talking about. There are seriously better things that Ghana should be talking about than this so-called expose and all that. If it's a criminal offense, my brother, just report it and let's move on. Deal with the people. Okay? You can't control everybody's mind. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
People have the right to do whatever they want to do. And if what they do falls foul of the law, you deal with it. That is how a country should operate. That's how people should operate. You put in place systems, we deal with the situation. Whether you like it or not, everywhere people do bad things.
Mike, it's not,
okay. Why should the nation waste time going this becoming an argument here and there?
It has become an argument.
Why?
Because you see that video was released a day after even independence celebration, you know, and this year's independence was historic because for the first time it wasn't celebrated in Accra, but it was taken to the northern part.
So wasn't that a reason why this thing shouldn't be a news item at all?
Yeah, but you see, the way our people do politics back home, it's so funny. This wouldn't have made any news at all. Yeah, if for instance the media company, I mean multimedia, who made this so-called expose. To me, okay, before I even go to what I was going to say, the timing was also very bad. The timing would have made a lot of sense. For example, because at the time the president was talking about urging both parties to start a dialogue and you know, disband the vigilante groups that they had within them. But and if the president was actually saying that, and then behind the scene there were another form of vigilante group that he knew about, then it makes a lot of sense. If what the video, you know, the excerpts and everything that was played out the day earlier that day had turned out to be what they said it was going to be, then I think it would have made a big deal. But then personally, what it was advertised to me was not what was shown that day in the evening. And I'm surprised that multimedia, instead of admitting their faults, I mean, there are some few questions that he's answering. For instance, why they were camping at the having their march or training, but I didn't see any training in the video anyway, at the Osu Castle. Those questions can be asked, and the other bit about them not registered security company, all those questions could be asked. But then you start on a bad premise, and then in order to prove that premise that you started on is true, even when you are told that you've got it entirely wrong, you still want to pursue the agenda. And
look, let me tell you something. I have said this before. By the way, listeners, you are still tuning into Crossfire on Africanna Radio. Today we are not broadcasting on Facebook because Facebook is having a mind of its own. We are on YouTube live. If you go to YouTube and you type in Africanna Radio, you will get us there. The show is running live on YouTube. Also on TuneIn app. If you are listening, you're on the go, you can call us on the TuneIn app. Of course, our lines are open, and if you want to call us, you can give us a call and join the program. The discussion is Crossfire. On Crossfire, we talk about hot topics, matters arising in Ghana, around the world, of course, especially in the UK and across the pond. You see, this, when people have access to politicians or the corridors of power, they take advantage of it. So you decide that for one reason or the other, you've had an opportunity to get close to someone who is very influential in society. Okay. You've had an opportunity to get close to someone who is very influential. Now, because that person is very, very influential, you then use that link that you have to do what? To pursue your own agenda. Okay, good evening. I understand we have a caller on air.
Yeah, good evening. This is Citizen.
Oh, can you lift your voice up for us a little bit?
All right, can you hear me? This is Citizen, MPP UK Communication.
Still not very clear.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Oh, okay.
Is this Mr. Bimpe?
No, this is
Citizen. I like your name. Good evening and welcome to Crossfire, sir.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you of any of the political parties then?
Sorry?
Are you a political party rep?
Oh, yeah, I'm an MPP communicator.
Okay.
UK, yeah.
Welcome to Crossfire.
Thank you so much.
Let's hear you. What do you want to say?
Yeah, little contribution on Manasseh Azuri's documentary for now.
Okay.
Our lawyer. To start with, I think this Manasseh Azuri's documentary to Ghana is one. It's fraud on the people of Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total deceit. It's a false representation, unnecessary sensationalism, and just causing fear and panic. Bottom line, that is what it is. Why am I saying this?
Mm-hmm.
Let me link this to the teaser, Joy FM. Now, don't let us link it to just Manasseh because it's a collective thing. All in the name of trying to erode the gains made by the president in the northern region. That's one issue. It's a calculated attempt to erase or to submerge the president's effort to put into this background issue to make things happen the way it happened. Look, you showed a teaser to the whole of the nation. And the teaser has nothing to do with your so-called underground investigations that you made. It has nothing to do with it. And one, what is a militia? It's a military force that is raised, by your permission, I want to read out. A militia is a military force that is raised from the civil population to supplement a regular army in an emergency. This documentary you made, or this expose, has nothing to do with this. This first part I've read, you can link it to the PDC, militia.
Let me make an interesting observation here before you continue.
Okay.
You see, I think I've over the years come to understand that English is not our first language as Ghanaians. So we like bandying about words. And I'm not referring to you, I'm referring to all of us Ghanaians. We use words without understanding the real meaning of those words and the context where we situate them. So you see people using any word, vigilante, militia, days, and all that. When you go around to ask the person, what does that mean?
They don't understand.
We don't understand what the word means, but we use it. And it's not just the ordinary folks, even our professors.
Exactly.
Our professors,
in a certain context, vigilante It's not even, you can't turn it as criminal depending on the situation. Vigilante is where law enforcement people check their responsibilities, that you have vigilantes trying to protect their own territories and for that matter, so vigilante per se is even not a bad word for a group of people. And military, depending on the context. We had military during Jerry Rawlings' time. We have the PBC, we have the militias, and a lot of them. That is where it fits into this description of militia, which at that time we couldn't say was unlawful. It was lawful. And then the second part is a military. It's a militia. It's a military force that engages in rebel or terrorist activities in opposition to a regular army. Was that what was happening with this grouping? That was not what was happening with this grouping. You couldn't link this to the so-called militia you made people to believe that existed in Ghana.
But why were they using the Osu Castle though? Because that's
very good. And that is why I agreed with one of your, I don't know his name, somebody is making a submission there. We can isolate it and talk about the facilities being used. Let's talk about the impropriety of the facility, the government facility being used by this group. And
that is exactly why I think I was making that point, that people take advantage of their positions and their associations with government, and then they tend to exploit that for their own benefits. But it goes, you see, it's a deeper problem in Ghanaian society, to be honest with you.
Right.
And that problem needs to be uprooted irrespective of which government is in power. At the moment, the MPP government is in power, so they have the responsibility to deal with this lawlessness. There is too much lawlessness in Ghana. It was happening in the previous government, but it appears now it's even getting out of hand. Everyone is just using their little connection or opportunity they have with someone powerful.
I wouldn't agree with you on that one. I can agree with you on this one, that let's isolate and situate the issue about the use of the facility. That one, I wouldn't sit here and be a hypocrite and say it's the right thing to do. I will criticize it anywhere. But if you want to take it out of context and say militias are training, that militias train in the bush, militias they train in unconspicuous area, militias train with weapons. I'm a security person. Militias train with weapons, AK-47. They train with bombs, explosives. They train with
this one, they didn't have any weapons.
Yeah, they
didn't have any weapons. They were training in
Citizen, let me ask you a question. I totally agree with your submission that you've made, majority of it. But I have a bit of a problem, especially with the statement that came from the Minister for Information, Agyepong. You know, there was a part of that statement where he stated that all attempts to get these guys to evacuate that premises that they were using at the Osu Castle proved futile. So they had to use a combination of the security forces and then the police to eventually get them out. So if for example, even though I agree they were not militia, but then that aspect of having to use police and then the security forces to sort of force them to leave the premises, it's a bit of a worry. That is the only bit that worries me.
I think I've addressed that in my earlier submission. I've said it is two issues now. The issue of who takes oversight responsibility of making sure that no single person uses that facility to advance his own cause. It is not a government project that they were undertaking there. So let's take the blame aspect separately, and let's take this word militias being trained there separately. There's two issues here, and on one of the issues, I'm on the same pedestal with you, that somebody must bear that responsibility. Somebody must accept the blame. That why should they sit down for this guy to use the place to advance his own cause? That one, I'm on the same wavelength with you. But I'm saying nobody can disrupt these people as militias. Militias that does their activities in the open. So Manasseh Azuri to go to the extent of deceiving Ghanaians by showing a teaser that has no correlation with what he was coming to show at the end of the day was a total deceit. It was uncalled for. It was a poor journalism.
Okay, hold on there, citizen. Hold on there. Look, like you said, journalists all over the world, they like sensationalism. Anas is number one. He will sensationalize issues and then come out with a very disappointing, what do you call it, video that will follow. But the point is that is even in the print media. That's what they do. Yeah. So now we move on to video and then audio visuals, and that's exactly what we are seeing. They come out, tease you with very funny, sensational headlines or teasers, but the actual thing is a disappointment. So maybe we should go beyond that sensationalism and look at...
No, it's different. No, I wouldn't go beyond because the teaser was a separate incident that happened in the open that everybody knew about. The president raised the issue in his State of the Nation that the nation is dealing with now. So don't link it to a secret video that you claim you have. Another one, I agree with you, but at least another teasers got something to do with what he will show at the end of the day. But Azure's one is completely different. It's a different incident pieced together to release as a teaser to Ghanaians. It's got nothing to do with the activities of...
So, in your estimation, do you think that the Azure and they say the multimedia group it's a calculated attempt to denigrate the government?
It's an agenda to please someone. It's an agenda to cover up the effort the president made, of which it's become an international...
Hasn't the MPP got media houses?
You see, Citizen, Citizen, I wouldn't go far to say that it's sort of an agenda, but then again, I would not totally disagree with you. I hope you get the point I'm making. The reason being, when that expose first came out, I thought with the teaser and everything that was shown to the public, and then the disappointment after it was shown, the multimedia group and the Manasseh would sort of recognize their mistake and not push that whatever they were trying to portray. But then it looks like they've been defending it all the way through. So
of course, they don't want to go down like that. A whole media house like multimedia, don't expect them and as Ghanaian as typical as we are. If it's like CNN or BBC, they would have come up by now to say sorry to the people of Britain or to the people of America. But Ghanaians, and for that matter, blacks as we are, even though they know by now that they've done a shoddy job, coming out to say we are sorry, it's a difficult thing for them. But you see, we live in an information age where this time you can deceive a certain section of the people, but not all of the people. So it is high time media houses realize that you can't always have your go. We know media is so strong, they can make a woman look like a man and a man look like a woman. We know it. But that era is gone. Now everybody can read between the lines. And everybody knows.
But one thing, you see, it's good that you are a communicator here, or you belong. I just want to ask something. If you look at this government, there are things that the government has put in place which one would have said, would think that these are good policies, flagship policies. Like you even said, just taking the independence to the north, the first time this happened. The last week on this program, one of the ladies called in to congratulate the president on that. Look at the trying to bring peace to Dagbon and all that. All these policies, it comes out and then something very uninteresting comes out to block it. No, whose problem is it? Whose fault is it?
This is where I sort of agree with them.
No, hold on.
This is where I sort of agree with what Citizen said. Because, you see, people should have been talking about how it was a historic event. That it was.
Now, whose duty is to ensure that this is a historic event? Is it because look, let me tell you something. The media man out there, what is his aim? His aim is to make money.
Of course.
So, whenever you bring out anything teaser, I'm going to show a video, explosive video that will reveal some secrets that government is doing, bad things. Everyone, they know everyone wants to tune in. Their numbers go up in terms of viewing numbers. Adverts, all the companies who want to come and advertise during that teaser because they know and they will increase their prices. So, it is expected. Now you are in government. You have your government machinery. You have GBC. You have your own what do you call it? Media houses that are aligned to the government or that support the government. Surely I will expect that you also promote your good policies than rather allowing this one to take over the media waves.
No,
You see,
in our space, it doesn't work that way.
It's not a matter of allowing it. You can't control how people do. You can't control media houses, what they should bring out and what not to bring out. As long as there's an issue that is being talked about, very positive one, and negative news says it doesn't matter whether it's fact or not fact. So there were positive things that were being talked about before the dropping of this so-called documentary. So of course, whether it was negative or good or not good, it's going to take over whatever government communicators and for that matter machinery or news houses aligned to the government are talking, because bad news first. So bad news first. So it's not about
my brother.
Look, Mike, and also this is where I'm still more. I'm still beginning to think that there's a bit of an agenda, like citizens say.
Exactly, there's an agenda.
You see,
one of
it's good you can call that out.
No, wait. One of the other reasons I said that was, I remember that day when Manasseh first dropped it on Facebook, that, that's the MPP government. And I think specifically mentioned the president. Does he know about what is about to go down? Exactly. What's about to go down? So I think a lot of people started becoming interested in what he meant, and then when the teasers and everything started coming up, and I remember in the evening before the 8:30 that it was supposed to be premiered, shown, there was a suggestion or a post by Manasseh himself that like the government were trying to stop him from showing it by somehow those who have subscribed to their channels not being able to access it. That was a suggestion that was made during that period, the wait period before the video came out.
My brother, I say,
and I'm saying,
this
even
citizen,
Mike, 1 second. And I remember when the information minister responded,
yes,
the Joy, I think it was Ivan show. What's it called?
Ivan Spencer.
Ivan Spencer show. What's it called again?
Newsnight or
Newsnight. Yeah, they took Agyepong on. Agyepong commands on. And I remember one of the things that they said, which really baffled me, and I was so shocked, I couldn't believe, was they admitted that, the reason they referred to them as militia but not vigilante group was because of something that a member of the Commission of Inquiry, the AWW Inquiry, said, Professor Mensah, to be precise, and they linked what she said.
My brother, I've been telling you, look, you are in government. You control government communication machinery. You have a national broadcasting house that you control. You control the airwaves. If you want to promote the agenda of government, surely you should have the power to do that. Now, I am concerned about the image of Ghana. I am not concerned about, what do you call it? So when negative stories like this are coming out, to someone who doesn't want the government to succeed or who wants to take over from the government, they are happy. But for me as a citizen who care about Ghana, I don't care who is in power. All I care is that Ghana is developing. So any news that will come out that will make the country look bad, that will scare investors away, I am not interested. So as a government, I expect my government to ensure that certain news do not come out. My brother, you can do it.
That will mean that you want to control how people talk.
It is not how people, no, you control what comes out to the public.
You cannot. It means you are curtailing freedom of speech. You can't think for
that is exactly what, let me tell you something. In this country, my brother, in this country that we live, all the newspapers that we see, they are all on two sides. When it comes to national issues that threaten the sovereignty of this nation or the image of this nation, believe you me, They all come together. The newspapers own. There are so many things that go out that they don't publish. The only thing, when they publish matters that do not affect the foundations of this nation or affect investments. So issues that they will talk about is not issues that you will see that Britain is collapsing, there is catastrophe here. No. They will talk about it, but they know the foundations are still strong. Ghana, we are not developing. So to say, stop it from there. Sorry, are you still there?
In the word of the Lord.
Hold on, please. I think we have some. Bear with me. There's some.
Last Tuesday, I started talking to you about that.
Okay, sorry, listeners. Apologies for that. There was some technical glitch, but let's continue. So, citizen, what I was saying was this. As long as you are in government, in the interest of the nation, even the Attorney General has the power to decide which cases to prosecute in the national interest. There are certain things that it doesn't help the nation. It's unnecessary distraction. Okay, and then we waste time discussing all these things.
You see, what you need to understand is
I agree with you, but you know what? Government is not part of the editorial board of multimedia. If there's a law that probably every press house must include
you see, you do that. Let me tell you something, citizen. You do that through backdoor. You influence. Lobbying backdoor. You must have that leverage over media houses. Lobbying backdoor. That is there. Okay.
I think that would be a very difficult thing to do. That
then every day you'll be reacting to stories when you are supposed to come out setting the agenda.
That would also mean that you are suppressing freedom. Let them speak freely, and then it's up to you to let the people understand that what they are saying. Like we make people understand that what Manasseh shows is not a true reflection of what the real picture is. It's up to you as a government machinery to let the people understand. And thank God on this issue, I think a vast majority of people have come out to understand that it is not as we see we were made to believe it was. You understand? You can't control. It is up to you to be effective enough to communicate to people to let them understand that it is not true. And if it is true, why it should happen the way it happened. You understand? So it's difficult to control how people should put out their issues. But what you can do is to counter and let people understand your side of the explanation of the story. I think that is the most effective way to go about it in matters like this.
Anyway.
You understand?
As long as you can convince people to believe it, because at the end of the day, some of us have got ways of analyzing issues to get to know that this is relevant or this is irrelevant. If I had my way, even these are matters that I wouldn't even waste my time on, because it's not.
Exactly.
Like I said, people use their influence, and it's everyone, including those in government and those without government. You get opportunity to get close to someone powerful. You want to take advantage of that and then make money out of it.
I agree with you.
And that's what is happening in the country. We need some real laws to discipline people. You know.
Things are done depending on stood to the highest bidder. For all you know, like I said, it's a lot of interest being at play. A lot of interest is playing out in this era that we are. But it is up to us, like I said, we have to make people believe that what Manasseh Azure done was fraud, was deceit, false representation, and that's possibly fear and panic.
I hear the I group is suing him for 10 million.
No, they sued him. They sued him. I saw the rate today. They sued him today. And not just him, and the multimedia. And that is what.
And how about the government? Is the government suing the multimedia as well?
No, government, you don't have to sue. Government, you don't have to sue, because in a way you've checked your responsibility by allowing an individual to use the government facility to advance their own cause. You understand? So the government on this matter, I think
So what is the government doing then to make sure that this I group does not operate? Are they still operating from the castle?
Oh, no. They've been evacuated, as I understand. So they are no more operating there. You see, they didn't just move in there. You see, the director of the I group was given an assignment of confiscating government stolen cars. So after the end of his activity, he should have been moved out. And then they left him there.
Oh.
He decided,
he took advantage. That's exactly it.
He took advantage. So it wasn't like he moved in there just to carry on his activity. That's not the situation. He was given an assignment to do, and he was given an office and a secretary and all of that. And after that, instead of vacating the premises, he decided to use it. And probably, in my opinion, probably he didn't do things the right way.
Rent free, I guess. Was he paying rent?
No. I don't think it's rent. Like I said, after his activity, he was supposed to vacate the place.
Oh my days.
So you see, this is where sometimes the way the security, those in charge of security, lets your government down, citizen. Someone should have moved in straight away to sack them instead of waiting for it to escalate into what it's turned out to now.
So in effect, no, let me get this straight, because this Anna's expose, when it came out, was the guy still there? Was the activities of...
Azure.
Yes. Sorry, Azure is not Anna's. Azure, yeah. Was were the I group still operating there when the information came out, the video came out?
Yes, he was still operating.
But now he's left.
Now he's gone.
Okay.
When did they leave?
Whoa.
Citizen.
Sorry?
When did they leave?
When did they leave? No,
Yeah.
as we're speaking now, they are not there. I can't tell exactly when.
Okay,
they
so
left. Of
it
course, when
means
they
that
came.
had it not been this expose, the guy would still be operating there illegally.
I think, citizen. I don't think they were still operating there.
As we
Because
speak now,
government, according to the statement issued by government, they evacuated in October last year.
They evacuated in October last year. So why are they bringing this now then? Why is he showing this now?
Yeah, because
I think you are right. I think you are
multimedia
right.
still insists that they had not, that they were still using the
You are
premises.
right. You are right. I think they
Multimedia still
evacuated.
insisting that they were still using the.
No. So you see,
But you see, Mike.
there is a lot of confusion here.
there is.
No, Mike, I
see-
know how you
see,
feel.
And this is another reason why I also, the more I talk about it, the more I tend to believe what citizens said earlier about there being an agenda. One of the things that multimedia did the day after the story broke out was they made another story saying that the security forces, i.e. The
National security. Yeah.
not just national security, the army moved
In
into
the army.
moved in to evacuate those guys.
Yeah.
The day
yeah.
after.
To make it look like it was
Exactly.
the day after the documentary.
So that was the impression that was created by the multimedia group, and then the army came out to deny it. They retracted that.
Yeah.
Multimedia retracted it.
They retracted. They did not pull down the story. They retracted it. They changed it, and this time around, they still insist that they are reliably informed that the guys were evacuated that day, but it did not involve the army, because the army came out to deny the first headline that says that the army were the ones who evacuated them. Well, I mean, there are lots that's been going on that makes no
the
sense
story
to me.
first flat.
It doesn't make
story-
sense to me, and I don't
the story
understand why multimedia, if a journalist, be it Manasi, whoever has made a mistake, why must you follow them blindly? And then in trying to
Follow who blindly?
multimedia is supporting Manasi. And that's
No, but
again-
he's an employee of multimedia.
yeah, but
Did he do this on his own, or he did it as an
not do
employee?
it he did it as an
So
employee.
don't you see? Let's call a spade a spade. This idea of trying to delink Manasseh from multimedia just because you like the guy is not right. He's a human being. He can get things catastrophically wrong. Just as Anas was initially going around filming things and we were all happy, and then all of a sudden we realized that the guy was not doing it. He was a fraud.
Yeah.
That's exactly what is happening now. So when you try to sort of, oh, why is he works for the company. You said he put it on his Facebook wall. So what was the meaning? When Manasseh writes a story and he says, these are my own views, it is not linked to Joy FM. He states it clearly. So the two of them, he knew what he was doing. He knew if it was false, he was publishing. He knew what he was doing.
They did it together.
Don't try and delink him at all. He knew what exactly what.
If it was not done together, as far as the story is, as far as the documentary, I don't think multimedia will show on their platform, because the story is very poor. Even a class 1 chap can see through the story and know that this documentary will fall flat. But like
I still want to probe further to find out the truth.
Over a week debating this. So
Citizen, I will wish that you still get the details as to really, because if when he published that video or that he brought that investigation and this company was still operating at the Osu Castle,
they were not.
No,
don't be categorical about it.
No. As my brother just said,
They were not. They were not.
They were not.
No.
So that makes it very serious. Yeah. Okay? And I think the government has a right to take him on.
See, the reason I'm saying they were not is they created an impression that the day after it was shown that they were evacuated the day after
by the army.
And then when the army denied it, they changed the story to not by the army but by a certain group. And they did not.
But does the video say, I haven't watched it, does the video say that they are still operating there or they were operating there?
The video, what the video said was after Christmas,
they were operating there.
There.
And they are now bringing the video to us.
That's what I'm saying. I have a problem with the timing. And this is why
are we wasting our time discuss this thing? This is irrelevant, my brother.
The more I talk about it, the more I agree with them, citizen.
This is irrelevant. Actually, look, there is unrest at EU and wherever. They say the vice chancellor is chopping some monies, big monies, over the teacher and sacking teachers and lecturers left, right, center.
People don't learn.
You've been placed on hold. Please wait.
All right, listeners, you are still tuning to Crossfire on Africanna Radio. It looks like we can but forgive us. Sometimes when you are doing these discussions and analysis, you tend to forget that you have to speak the local language as well.
Please wait.
We have a citizen online on the air with us. We haven't heard from Steve tonight. By the way, we will soon be wrapping up, but let's talk about University of Citizen. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You went off air, but you placed us on hold.
I swapped a call quickly.
Yeah. We want to talk about University of Winneba. What is happening there? Okay. Hold on, please. Hold on. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Where is Steve's one? Okay. Can you hear us, Steve?
Yeah, I can, but your voice is quite
Yeah. I can hear you, but quite far away. And I don't think Citizen can hear you either.
Hello?
Yeah, Citizen.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to call us? Should I give you a number so that you call us on it so that we can merge you? Can you hear Steve?
You see, Citizen's line is clearer. Steve should rather call Citizen's line so we can merge.
Rather?
Yeah, Steve should rather call the line.
Okay, which one is that? Is this your direct number?
That one is clearer. So let's just give this one to
Okay, Steve.
I'll test him.
Yeah, text the number. Steve, are you there? Yeah, because your line is a bit faint. Can you please call this number that Steve Richard is going to text to you so that we can merge you? We have another caller online as well. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So Richard is texting a number to you 07878 127-219. And if you don't mind, please call that number instead so that we can add you to this call and then we continue with the discussion. Have you got it? He sent it by WhatsApp to you right now. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Citizen.
Yes, sir.
I say University of Education, University Winneba, yes.
Yeah.
What is happening?
All right. You see, when it comes to matters of education, I think nobody wished that it should be happening the way it is playing out now. But you see, the laws must be made to work wherever one finds themselves, being in government, being in education.
Hold on. Merge, okay? Okay. Yes, go ahead. I've got Steve online now, so go ahead, Citizen. Hello, Citizen. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, hello, I'm here.
Okay. We have Citizen now. I hope we haven't lost you. Citizen?
Hello?
Citizen, can you hear us? He must have been put on hold, but I've merged. Citizen, hello? They're all on. Oh, he's gone.
No, I'm here.
Okay, Steve, you're here. Let's hope Citizen calls back. We are talking about University of Education, Winneba. The impasse over there. What is happening? Are you following that? I hear the students are demonstrating. Some lecturers have been sacked. The vice chancellor is taking some transport allowance and all that. And everyone is asking for him to leave. They are calling for his head. What's your views on that?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you also hear me?
Yes, you are clear.
Okay. No, good evening once again, and good evening to your listeners.
Thank you, Steve.
I think with the University of Education University issue, I had a chance to listen to it this morning. So various interviews and Africanna who championed the removal of the advocate, the former
vice chancellor, yeah.
Yes, a lot of issues on some spending and all those things. He was on air today talking about the new VC, the Professor Agyepong, who is apparently he's a Roman father.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
A Roman father.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Catholic priest. And he was saying all kinds of things about this man, that literally the very things that they kind of use as a basis to remove the previous vice chancellor. This man is doing the same and even doing even more with respect to the spend and the contract and all those things. And he has sort of tried to even advise this man, at least, if anything at all, he should dissociate himself from those contracts and even stop those things. And even now, that man is not, he calls him, he doesn't take his call, and he's even sponsoring an independent candidate to contest him for next year's election.
Wow.
And so many things. And then on top of it all, the man has started 30 lecturers and 4 non-teaching staff. So 34. And then
has he replaced them, or it was just a normal retrenchment exercise?
He has sacked them.
On what basis?
Sacked them using various reasons. But those who are demonstrating, which obviously the students are saying that, especially the final years, most of these lecturers, some of the lecturers are their supervisors, and they need them to be able to do their projects and stuff. And some of the sacking of the lecturers don't have any basis, because most of the people that he has sacked are people who are deemed to be who have supported the previous VC during the time that he was there, and even when the issues were in court and all those things. So it's more victimization things that he is doing, and kind of instead of using this period to bring together the teaching staff, though you have inherited something that's a problem, you need to find a way to bring them together so that the university can progress. He is rather now kind of bringing more division, causing a lot of chaos. So no wonder that what is happening there. And I think something needs to be done. That at least this man should be advised to resign, so that somebody who will be able to kind of bring the teaching body and the non-teaching staff, everybody in the university together, so that they can forge ahead and do what will progress the university will be done. And the sort of thing that they are talking about this month, it's not something that will help the university to run in any better way. And if it happens that way, then the students are the people who are going to suffer. So for me, I think government has interviewed yesterday, and Professor Yanka was there. I don't know what became of it. That today the demonstration has become so massive and very intense. And the man should advise himself and leave the scene for somebody who is more capable to come and do it. They don't need a divisive person for the job there.
Now, in your view, do you think he must be sacked, or he should resign, or what?
I think in his own interest he should resign. But if he does not take that as something that he should do for himself and also for the university, then he needs to be pushed out. You see? So they should just allow him to do the honorable thing. I say, okay, I pack my goods. Somebody should come and take over. But if he doesn't do it, the government cannot sack him, but they can go through the board to push him out. Because the university council is the one that can do all those things. The government should find a way to lobby the university council to push him out, to get them sorted for them. But if the government should sack him and say the government is interfering or meddling in the university, then the university is an entity on its own. So the government doesn't have so much say. And they should go through the back door and get him out. So that everybody will have their peace of mind and go on.
But you know, their appointment is said that it has to be revoked by the university council and all that. They create very complicated means of getting rid of them. Sorry?
The government should lobby that's what I said, that the government should lobby the council.
Ghana.
The government should try and lobby the council so that they can do something about it. Because even now they say that even the council, the man is not on good terms with the council members. There you go.
It's quite interesting the way when people get power, they sort of tend to usurp those powers. And then now, if he was coming up with, let's say, some reforms, sometimes people don't like change, you see. So when a new person comes in, he comes in with new ideas. Has he been a lecturer all these years over there, or he was just appointed?
He was a pro-BC. Mike, let me tell you some few things that he said. Agyepong's brother is a lecturer there. And this guy, he's written some papers and he's now made associate professor.
Okay.
He said, you know, because Agyepong's brother was deemed to be supporting advocate, that associate professorship that he has to be awarded to him, this man has just sat on it. He's not ready to do it. He said that even Napo, they were in a meeting with Napo and then some other people. And Napo did mention to him that he should expedite action on that. Up to date, the man hasn't done it because of he feels that he's got that autonomy. saw somebody who can tell him to do what they want him to do. Yeah, so today Antonio Martin was said quite a lot of things, even up for he himself that he was in court with him and all those things. He said there's one lecture, the reason why most of the students are demonstrating is one lecture that he recently sat. So that his problem, the issue against that lecturer is that he has taken the university to court.
But I mean, everyone has a right to take the university to court.
That is it. He said that he has taken the university to court, and then he has taken university information without consulting the university authorities for that information. And my former Martin was saying that this man brought university documents to him to take it to court on your behalf. They didn't tell the university no. So it's like he's kind of doing kind of double-sided issue here. He can do it, somebody cannot do it. You have to also come to court with the university.
No, so you see, matters like this, you take the bull by the horn. The Minister of Education must sack him straight away. Sack him and prevent him from entering the premises. And then he should rather go to court to fight for his position and see how it feels. If you think because you can't allow one person to put the whole careers of young university graduates or undergraduates into danger.
Is it not surprising, Mike, that after everything that went on with his predecessor, Walker, and we also how the protected problem that they were having until he took power. So I thought maybe when he came on board, things would change for the best, and that the mistakes that his predecessor did would not be repeated. So for him to do worse than his predecessor is quite worrying. I don't get it. I don't know what is really happening at that place that he will think that, this brings to the fore what we say about the devil is better than the...
No. This tells you clearly that that's the nature of Ghanaians. Ghanaians, majority of us, that's the way we think. One man's trouble, you think, oh yeah, he has got that trouble. But me, when I come, I also do the same thing because I have been put there by someone, so they will back me at all costs. Without realizing that we took this person out because we didn't like what he was doing. Yeah. I mean, the bribery and corruption that was going on under the previous government, and to a large extent, the reason why we voted, Ghanaians voted that government out, it's still going on now. Okay? Civil servants are. We just saw a video by Anas, which claimed that people at the Flagstaff House are taking bribes. All right? So I asked myself, this person, if really that was what was going on, after all this that has been going on in this country, you still don't realize that it is not the right thing to take money, whether in the form of a gift or a bribe, or was he also recording to try to expose whoever was giving him that money that yes. Do you get a point? You think about it and say, so don't you pause for a moment and think that actually, why am I taking this money? I could be recorded though. Yeah. It didn't occur to him. So it tells you that something is fundamentally wrong, and no amount of, secret recordings of will make people change their behavior. The only way, for me, in my opinion, is when you realize wrongdoing or when wrongdoing comes up. The authorities who must ensure punishment must ensure that that punishment is meted out quickly and severely. That is my worry. Until we start doing that as a nation, I totally agree with it will nothing will change. Human behavior, that's how we are. Masa obi akwakofa obi yere ya chino pa ya put na down for no kuno. The rest the who's obey na one so akwakopa no bi. Without thing say, hey, no buy me company or you be rana. So what you say? I kro musa. No so trap nachi. But the thing is, let's punish. When we punish them, at least we have some semblance of law and order. Something is happening. You commit a crime or you commit an offense, you get dealt with. Simple as that, without fear or favor. and Ghana will be better. That's the only way. That's how all developed countries that are progressing have done it. Over here, you commit any crime you commit, they will deal with you. You will sit in your house and a letter will come, and that letter alone will make you shiver. You will start thinking. Just one letter. My goodness. Steve, it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah. But one day we will get there. One day, because I don't know. I wonder. I really can't bring my mind to understand some of the things that people go. Because like you're saying, why will you do the same things that your predecessor was doing? That landed him into trouble.
And even doing more.
More. Don't you pause and think that, this thing that reflect. Ask yourself, is this the right thing I'm doing?
Well, the only logical explanation you can make out of it is him thinking that maybe it was a political appointment, so he can do.
His people are in power.
Exactly. So
and you see, that is so painful. You people disgrace people just like that. You get the opportunity to get closer to someone or to your people you know come to power. One way or the other, they must get people to do some jobs. So you are fortunate now you are the vice chancellor or you are in a position of authority. Instead of working to repose the trust that has been placed in you, you rather do things to disgrace everybody who appointed you. It makes it very, very difficult. You know, it makes it very, very difficult. And when you ask them why, I don't know. You can't imagine why people do that. It's mind-boggling. I still can't find what is it that makes us do that, because you don't see these things happening in the Western world. You really don't see that. Immediately you see them resigning. Look, when Ambarad, embarrassingly or mistakenly, some civil servant didn't brief her properly, and she went and sat before a committee and said that, oh, no one has been deported. This Windrush scandal. When it turns out that actually some people had been deported. She had lied, basically to Parliament. So she had no choice. She had to go. Honorably, she resigned. Okay, that is how things. Yes, Steve.
I want to just say something. Come to think of it, you're in university, and you are sacking 30 lecturers in a space of 6 months. What at all is happening there? Are they killing the students?
And I was even asking, is he even replacing them? Are they redundant to surplus? Okay, like Richard was saying, some of them are PhD students and final year students who need supervisions and all that.
Yeah, they need their supervisors. And then some of these lecturers are people who have taught their courses for years. They've gathered experience, and do you think you can get somebody to just come and replace them within a month or so? So there are certain things when you are doing it, you just have to think. You cannot just act because you have the power. You don't do things without any records to how the people in the system are going to feel. I'm not saying that if somebody has done wrong, we should just pamper the person. No. If you are doing things, you should make sure that whatever you are doing has basis. Sacking 30 lecturers. Where are the people to teach the students?
It's a worry. It's a worry, but we just have to leave it to.
That's one of the problems with our people. And one of the things that concerns I have, you see, one of the NBC is crying, they are beating us, they are beating us. When they were in power, all these nonsense ever happened. Nobody had the guts to talk about it. Now they are sitting out and then throwing stones into the park, saying that, oh, they are beating us. Believe you me, if the NBC should get a chance to come to power another time, they will even do much more than what they have done. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Anyway, listeners.
All of them who are crying like that, they'll do much more than that.
You're right, Steve. It is a shame, but what can you do? One day, we will get there. I keep saying that. We can't give up on the Project Ghana. We have to keep talking. We have to keep hoping for the best. We have to keep being optimistic, even though sometimes the optimism is sort of, it means that you are living in denial. But eventually, it might take us a very long time, maybe 100 years, to see these things, these changes that we desire, because some of these things are very frustrating. You would think that people who are supposed to know better. This is a professor we are talking about, and he's even a reverend father, my own priest, you know. And this is what is happening. Well, have we heard from his side of the case, though? Has he spoken in the midst of all this? The VC.
Who will give him chance to talk?
Oh, yeah, maybe, for all you know, we haven't had, I mean, we have to be fair. We can't just one-sided. Let's hear why he's doing some of these things. He should come out and tell us why this is going on, because it is under his jurisdiction that students are demonstrating. Mike, yeah.
Is it that yesterday, Professor Yanka went there to engage you? He was there. There are so many police people there to be able to protect him.
To protect him?
It's only Professor Yanka that the students allow him to talk. They will not want to hear anything from the VC. All that they are saying is that the VC must go. As simple as that.
Well, then he has to go. Unfortunately, he has no choice. He has to go because, like I said before, when the tech route, is that tech professor still there? Is he the VC still?
Yeah, he's still there.
He's still there. Yeah. My argument was that the university cannot exist without them students. It's not just a research institution. If it's a research institution, then they do only research. But if it's a university with students, then clearly the students are a very important stakeholder, if not the most important stakeholder over there. So if your most important stakeholders are saying they don't want you, unless it's just a section of the students who have come together to cause mayhem. I haven't followed it, to be honest, and to be fair to listeners. So that's why I say if we hear his side of the story, perhaps maybe we will be having a different view about the discussion. But like you also said, Afenyo Makin, who was the one who championed the removal of the other VC and brought this guy in, he's now turning his back on him. So he's got no leg to stand on. Anyway, I think we got to close the show, bring the show to an end here. It's almost 10:30. Listeners, you've been listening to Africanna Radio. Today we couldn't come on Facebook for some reason. So we broadcasted on YouTube and of course our TuneIn channel. We talked about Brexit. Steve, what is happening? Just let me hear your thoughts quickly on that, and then we end the show. I said Theresa May must go. We want an MP who voted for Brexit to take over the country.
Look, Mike, the situation has taken now. Nobody wants to come and take over this mess.
Well, who has created that mess?
All of them know. All of them know that Theresa May should go. But who is ready to come and take this?
Yeah, the leader of the house should step in. What's her name? Andrea Leesom should step in. She should not come up and say, yes, I'm taking over. I withdrew, but now I want to challenge Theresa May. And I think they will vote for her, and then she will get the job done. It's just getting out of hand. It's too frustrating, you know. It's too frustrating. I don't like what they are doing.
You are saying that somebody should come, but is the president being ready? Because all of them in the parliament, they know that this thing should stop. But who is ready to carry the cross?
No, so if they are not ready, then they should resign honorably as MPs, because they were there. They all voted to trigger Article 50. 80% voted to trigger Article. I think almost all of them, not 80%. Everyone voted to trigger Article 50. You've triggered it, and now get on with it. And you are trying to deter, going around in circles here and there. No deal, this. What is all this? They should just resign honorably, and then hold a general election.
But at least they have also voted again that they don't want to go without a deal.
Well, what does that mean? What does it mean by living with a deal? What does it mean?
Yeah.
What deal?
They need to
Who makes that deal?
Whatever they do is that one they have to come and tell us.
Okay, the Prime Minister has managed to come and says, I have a deal. You say you don't want it. You can't tell us what deal you have for the nation. And yet we don't want to live without a deal. So in effect, what you are saying is that we don't want to leave the European Union. That's exactly what they are doing. You know, and which is wrong. That's not what people voted. People voted that it was clear Britain should leave the European Union, and people say yes. So implement it. Good night, Steve. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's annoying.
Yeah.
Thank you, and we'll come again with another edition of Crossfire next week, God willing. Richard, thank you. Mr. D, you've been busy. Okay. Auntie Irene, thank you. Yeah. It's quite frustrating with this Brexit. Can we close this thing? Just too frustrating.